Hello everyone, today I will be talking about how to journalize the redemption of bonds payable. Let's get into it. Let's say a $1,900,000 bond issue on which there is an unamortized premium of $101,264 is redeemed for $1,979,000. Your job is to journalize the redemption of the bonds. Redeeming the bond just means the bond's principal amount is being repaid whenever the bond matures, when the issuer calls the bond, when the bond is converted, or when the bond is purchased. Alright, so now that we know what redeeming the bond is, let's get into the actual journal entry. Firstly, let's put the accounts being affected, which are bonds payable, and then premium on bonds payable. The next account will either be gain or loss on redemption of bonds, but we're not going to do that one yet. And the last account being affected will be cash. Firstly, bonds payable. This is a liability account, and since the redemption process means the company is eliminating debt, we need to debit this account for the face value of the bond. In this case, we know the face value of the bond is $1,900,000, so we can put that as the debit to the bonds payable account. $1,900,000. Secondly, a premium on bonds payable. This account represents the remaining unamortized premium from when the bonds were originally issued above the face value of $1,900,000. In this case, we know that the premium that is unamortized is $101,264, and since this account is being removed, we can debit this account for $101,264. Thirdly, cash. We know the amount the bond is being redeemed for is $1,979,000, so we know the corporation is using this much cash. Therefore, we can put the $1,979,000 as the credit to the cash account to show it is decreasing by the redemption price. So, $1,979,000. Lastly, gain or loss on redemption of bonds payable. The gain or loss account is the balancing amount needed to complete this entry and is the difference between the carrying amount of the bond and the redemption price. This account exists because corporations usually redeem bonds at prices different from the carrying amount of the bonds. For this part of the journal entry, we need to determine if there is a gain or loss. Firstly, we need to determine the carrying value of the bond, which is done by adding the premium and face values together. For us, that'll be $1,900,000 plus $101,264, which comes out to a carrying value of $2,001,264. Since the company paid $1,979,000 for the bonds, this shows there is a gain as $2,001,264 is larger than $1,979,000. To find the specific amount of this gain, we must subtract the redemption price from the carrying value. For us, that'll be $2,001,264 minus $1,979,000, which comes out to a gain of $22,264 as the credit to the gain on redemption of bonds payable account. And there you go. You now know the basics of bond redemption. Now I am going to give you another problem so you get the chance to practice this concept on a situation that is similar but slightly different. Let's say that a $4,500,000 bond issue on which there's an unamortized discount of $35,306 is redeemed for $4,635,000. Your job is to journalize the redemption of the bonds. Now, I'd recommend pausing the video here and trying it out for yourself, but if not, that's okay. You can just continue watching and watch me do it. Firstly, let's put the accounts being affected. Like the last problem, bonds payable is being affected. Unlike the last problem, discount on bonds payable is being affected. Again, we're going to leave the gain or loss on redemption of bonds payable blank. The last account being affected will be cash. For bonds payable, we know the face amount is $4,500,000 and that the account is decreasing, so we can debit this account for $4,500,000. For the discount on bonds payable, we know the unamortized discount is $35,306, so we can credit this account for that amount, $35,306. This account is a contra liability account that lowers the liability of bonds payable. To remove the remaining unamortized discount mentioned in the problem, we have to credit the account, which is why we credited it for $35,306. For the cash account, we know that the bond is being redeemed at a price of $4,635,000, so we can put this as the credit to the cash account, $4,635,000. Finally, for the gain or loss on bonds payable, we must first find the carrying value of the bond. This is done by subtracting the discount from the face value. In this case, that'll be $4,500,000 minus $35,306, which comes out to a carrying value of $4,464,694. We can then subtract the cash account from the carrying value to find the gain or loss. We can already tell that this is going to be a loss on the redemption of bonds payable, as the cash account, $4,635,000, is higher than the carrying value of $4,464,694. To find the specific amount of loss, we must subtract the cash account from the carrying value. In this case, that'll be $4,464,694 minus $4,635,000, which comes out to a loss of $170,306, which we can put as the debit on the loss on redemption of bonds account. And there you go. You now know and have practiced how to journalize the redemption of bonds payable when there is a premium, a discount, a gain, and a loss. As you can see, all these factors affect how the journal entry looks, but at the end of the day, the way you do the journal entry is pretty similar. If you ever need a refresher on this concept, feel free to come back and watch the video again. Thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful day.